And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We got a little off kilter there. I lost track of time. My apologies on that. 51 as we're waking up. Isn't that a big difference from what we've had over the last week and a half? It is. Today's high should reach, grab the counter on this, 71. Wow. From a high of 30 something all the way to 71. Big difference in today's weather. Tonight we'll get down to about 61 to where we've been in the 12? What does that tell me? There's going to be some sick people and there's storms on the way. And you guessed it. We got storms in the forecast on Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. Right now, level 1. We're watching that. It's up into Clark County at this point. Right at the Lauderdale County line is where we're seeing all this. It could progress a little bit further north in between now and tomorrow. We'll watch it very carefully. We have flash flood watches that are out. Oh, boy. A lot going on with that. So we'll give a complete look at the weather forecast here in just a moment to get your day underway as we get it going there. We'll try to start watching the clock a little bit better. I got sidetracked. We were tracking down information about a kitty cat. Toom Suba, y'all are the man. We'll talk about that at 7 o'clock this morning. Right now, let's go to Collinsville. Let's find out what the good word above is all about today.
Would you say that you're a forgetful person? Do you have that one item that you just consistently lose? For my wife, it's her phone. And look, I'm glad she isn't attached to it so that she always has it on her. But pretty consistently before we leave to go somewhere, I'm going to hear, JJ, I've lost my phone. Usually we got the Find My iPhone app on my phone to find hers pretty regularly. I can't hate on her too bad though. Keys are my issue. And yes, I try to put them in the same place each time, but inevitably, there comes a time where I just drop them down where I shouldn't have. And look, unfortunately, there's no Find My Keys app. Forgetting and missing things is a part of human existence, and some of us are better than others at it. But I wonder, though, if we don't do this sometimes with other people. And here's what I mean. When someone's wronged us, they've hurt us, or they've slandered our reputation, what's our first instinct? Our flesh tells us to get back at them, to answer their wrong with one of our own, to hurt them for hurting us, or to gossip about them since they decided to spread lies about us. Be careful though. Is that response biblical? Is that from God? Based on Ephesians 4, 31 through 32, I'd say not. What does God say there? Well, He tells us that bitterness, anger, wrath, shouting, and slander is to be removed from us along with all malice. These have no place in the life of the believer. Not only that, in 32, He gives us this incredible reminder. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving one another, just as God forgave you in Christ. This is the part we become forgetful. We're so easy to forget what God has done for us in Christ. See, that's the key to forgiveness, remembering what God has done for you. We were wretched, wicked, sinful humans. And yet, like Romans 5:8 tells us, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. When we don't forgive, we've forgotten what God has already done for us. Remember His sacrifice. And that will allow you to sacrifice your pride as you forgive others. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back, your friend Scotty Ray, as we get ready for a great morning. Now, there's a little rain outside. Let's not forget about that, and it could go till about 10 o'clock, and we'll taper off. So the streets are going to be slick. Causes accidents. Let's be extra careful on your way in this morning. We want everybody to get there safe. As we look at a few headlines this morning as we begin this, a director has passed away, a famous one. He was 97 years old. His name was Norman Jewison, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He did a lot of things. The Graduate, anybody remember that? Also Moonstruck, and also a big one, In the Heat of the Night, the original movie that had Sidney Poitier in it. If y'all remember that, he was the director of all those films.
Nicolas Cage and Cher was in Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. Nicolas Cage and who?
Cher.
Cher. Okay, that's who. That's right. I do know that. I had to think a minute. But he was the director of that, won many, many accolades, and passes away at the age of 97. Y'all be ready for this because we're going to see more and more of this. We've teased this, that there's problems across the United States with when intelligence is great, there's bad people that use it. And we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, to where people are using it to call and say, well, your grandson or your daughter's been kidnapped, and they'll use the voice of that person. Calls are now being made. And I believe this was New Hampshire. It was Joe saying, "Don't go vote." It wasn't Joe. Sure sounded like Joe, and you can bet more and more this is going to happen. And of course, there's going to be an investigation into this, who would do this, because it's dealing with elections. Shame, and
And I think
most likely, yeah, they should find out who done that. You don't need to do that. Either party, whoever's guilty of that, needs to be fined for that. The Grand Ole Opry this morning, or late yesterday afternoon, makes an apology. The young lady, no, let me back up. I can't say that. The woman who was on stage who used profanity at the Grand Ole Opry House. It was a lady that they interviewed who had spent, and I didn't realize this, just how much some of those tickets can be for these shows, and this was to Dolly's birthday bash. $300 a ticket is what she paid. And to have something stand on stage and use words like that. Appalling, isn't it? From the Grand Ole Opry, cuss words like you've never heard before by someone drunk. It also goes to show you the state of country music now, where it is. Oh, there's been outlaws, but there's a time and place for outlaw behavior. The Grand Ole Opry is not that place, nor should it come from a woman. There's a name that I'm thinking of, and it sits over here to my right that you throw stuff in. Oh, it's called trash. That's what that is. Doesn't matter how much money it has. At the end of the day, it doesn't change what you are. If it's trash, it's trash. And, well, we all know that now. What else is happening in the world this morning? Sad news. Oklahoma is where we go. A crew of paramedics had just dropped off a patient at a hospital helicopter. They left. The flight would not make it. All three were killed in the helicopter crash. Our condolences goes out to the family members of those who went above and beyond to save lives for others. They still can't explain why these people were there, but 20 people, imagine this. Now, we're not from cold places, so we don't go out and play on ponds that have water and ice. But they do that in Ohio, Lake Erie there, to where 20 people were playing on ice. They got stranded, had to be rescued. They are still trying to figure out why they were there, but, well, they were there. They're all safe and back home now. A little different there. How bad is it that Charlie Sheen could get custody of his children? Pretty bad, isn't it?
Ooh.
We all know Charlie's had troubles, but his ex-wife, they've told her that if she fails one drug test, he gets custody. We'll see what becomes of that. How many times has Charlie been married? Like,
A bunch. But he got in trouble
he got in all kinds of trouble.
because of AIDS and everything.
Yeah, you just made me remember a story I did not want to remember there about Charlie Sheen. Why'd you do that? Leave it to Odie to bring up a memory that I didn't even want to think about.
I want to share my knowledge.
Don't share your knowledge with me. The Razzies, do y'all know what that is? That's really a tribute to the absolute worst movies of the year. Well, they've got a list that's coming out. Shazam 2 makes it into there. Ant-Man 3 earned some nods. Jennifer Lopez, they're nodding on this. But they say some of the worst the movie of the year last year was The Expendables. I didn't watch it. I'm not sure if it was good or bad. But it didn't rank very high on my list. But if you were into that, there you go. Let's see. Hunter Biden. What is he saying today? This is really getting... Because, they wouldn't release the names of the people that bought that artwork. Now, I don't know the details, but I saw pictures, and that was not art. Do y'all remember that? And people were paying $500,000, $1 million for his paintings. It almost sounded like something more. They're saying now that in these depositions, as it comes out, they've got the names of who bought what. I don't know whether it was politically motivated or people just wanted a piece of the presidency. But he also demanded to know who they were that bought. A lot of times with art, people buy and they're hidden and you never know who buys your artwork. Hunter knew. Makes you wonder. We don't know. And this final story before we get to the weather. God tells us many things. He does. He's a good God. He directs us to do right from wrong. God will never, ever, ever, let me look at the camera over here, tell you to do something wrong. No matter how you try to convince yourself it's God telling you, it's not. It's something else, a a darker force. It's called usually the devil. It's bad. We have a pastor in Colorado that's claiming that God told him to steal $1.3 million. That was not God by any shape of the imagination. God doesn't do that. We live in a time that, well, Americans don't want to fess up to their own mistakes, and this is what this is, another example of someone wanting to blame someone else. Accept your responsibilities. We all make mistakes. Say, I did it. Pastor's not wanting to own up to it. We see it in everyday life, small things, big things. The world would be a better place just to admit I'm wrong and, well, let me fix it. I've done that wrong. We're a forgiving nation. God's a forgiving person. Where is it in the Bible where it talks about the number 7 of how many times God will forgive you? It's a heap.
Yeah.
And we often have trouble forgiving sometimes when it's 2 to 3 times when a friend does you wrong. But God will do it 7 times, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
Admit our mistakes and ask for forgiveness and don't blame others for what you did. That has a lot to do with what's wrong with our nation. We'll be right back as we get this day underway for your weather forecast. That's next. Is it time for a new couch? Visit Southern Accents Boutique in downtown Marion. Maybe it's a couch you're looking for, a couple of chairs, or maybe just a piece of furniture. A large selection of E. Newton has just arrived if you're looking for a bracelet. They come in all shapes and sizes. Or maybe it's just a happy you're looking for, like the Nest candles. A Kendra Scott necklace is on everybody's list this year. And if you need a little help picking out something for Valentine's Day, let the professionals help you at Southern Accents Boutique, downtown Marion on Dale Drive.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
And welcome back. Wayne tells us he saw a 7-vehicle convoy going south. 4 patrol cars, military vehicles, and a big white van with lots of lights. We will have stories later for you. Hubba, 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 hubba. Let's just say God was watching last night. He was doing his job along with some other fellas. We'll have news coming up on this a little bit later on today. Welcome back as we get ready for your forecast. Are we ready for this? Let me hit a button here. I forgot to hit something. I'm telling you, there's been a couple things that I was off today. I got sidetracked tracking down information and things. So we'll get back on track here in just a moment. I have to hit that button. And okay, all right, we're ready to do some weather.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go back for our 7-day record highs and record lows, had nothing to do with 7, did it? No, it didn't. 7's in my head now after we talked about it. Our record high was 82 degrees back in 1943. That was the year of the steel penny, if you'll remember.
Yeah, Indian hand.
Couldn't have copper in our pennies. Our lowest day was 1963. It was 8 degrees today. We're a long way from that as we head towards 71. As we see the rain forecast for today, 57. As we move across to Bama, 54. 52 Birmingham there. As we look about what is coming. And again, I hadn't changed the top there where it says cold weather. It's all about, well, rain is what we've got. We've got the possibility of storms coming through here and flash flooding across Lauderdale County. As a matter of fact, most of it. Look how much rain we could get in flash flooding. 4 to 8 inches is what we're expecting there. Now, we've got 2 forecasted for sure. This could be inside thunderstorms. As we look at this, here's that possibility. Actually, this goes higher than that. Let me pull this back up and show y'all what radar is showing this morning as of now as we pull this up to show where the severe weather is. Let me turn this on and show y'all. Here we go. This is what we've got so far as we pull up the severe weather. Now, it's kind of drifting east there. It's made a little change since that was last made. That's for today, and let's look at tomorrow. Let's turn that off. Right there. Here's what we've got coming up for tomorrow. Quitman, all of this area here to the west as we get into Jasper County, Smith County is what we've got under severe weather for tomorrow. We're going to watch this closely. It is ever nearing this I-20 corridor. So at this point, now again, it could go above this, but at this point, it's showing that it's going to be just along that I-20 corridor and south. It's a level 1, which means flash flooding, storms. We've had no mention of tornadic activity, which is good. Severe storms, flash flooding is what we're looking at. 4 to 8 inches of rain could mean a lot of trouble. We'll be here behind the scenes working all this and go live when necessary when the severe weather breaks out. So be ready for that as we monitor the weather for you as we move into tomorrow. Could be serious there as we move into our Wednesday. As we look at the forecast over the next few days, well, kind of normal here across Mississippi and South Texas. What's this out in California? Warmer weather. And, well, it's arriving as we see 67 today. That 60% chance of showers there through about 10 o'clock. We got some rain coming in tonight as well, as we'll see that the forecast calls for a 90% chance of rain tonight, 90% chance of rain tomorrow. And as we get into Friday, 50 to 60%. Even through Saturday, we still got rain in that. But the highs, look at this, 70. It tells me there's going to be people visiting the doctor sick. You can't go from near zero negative to 70 without somebody not feeling well. We'll start tapering off back to highs of 57, lows in the 30s on Sunday as we move in all the way through February the 6th. You'll see that. Look at that, still hot in February with mid-60s, nearly 70 degrees. Rain chances a lot in there mixed in. We could have a wet winter. Now, keep in mind, wintertime is not over by any stretch of the imagination. We got a long way to go through February and March. As we look at our fishing forecast today, the best time to be there, 10:30 to about 12:30 is going to be perfect time to go fishing today. Southeast wind 10 to 15, gust of high as 25 miles an hour. Woo, that's going to be blowing. Big thank you to Chet and his gang there for getting us that fishing forecast. As we go to the deer hunting side of things, it looks like 9:30 is the time to be in the woods today. That's going to be your first major time till lunch. Good luck on that. We all wish you luck as we're headed toward the end of the month, and it will come to an end. And wives, whether you like it or not, will have to accept your husband back home once again. There's really the newlyweds are like, no, don't go. Yeah. After 10 years, they're waiting at the door. When's it going to happen? Here's your gun. Here's your camo. Don't come back. Oh, don't worry about it.
I got a joke about that.
We'll tell Odie's joke coming up at the top of the hour. Join us, won't you? The morning show gets underway at 7 o'clock. We'd love to have you a part of it. It all happens here each morning, 7 to 8 a.m. with Scotty Ray and Odie, as we'll tell what went on behind the scenes, all coming up at the Scotty Ray Report. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.